Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, welcome to the Policy Resolution Committee. Welcome to this meeting of Riverside Council Policy Resolution Committee. The meeting will be held remotely and also in person and will be filmed and recorded for live subsequent broadcast available through the Council's website. The Council is a data controller under the General Data Protection Regulation and the Data Protection Act of 2018. We broadcast and record council meetings to fulfil our public task obligation to enable members of the public to observe the democratic process. Data collected during this process will be retained in accordance with the council's public policies available through the council's website. Members of the council are reminded that they should follow the council's established meeting protocols, including around the use of the chat facility, and that comments made in the chat facility are visible to all participants at the meeting, which may include members of the public who have also received invites to this meeting. Thank you. Item 1 is apologies and substitution and declaration of interest.
Convener, we have apologies from Councillor Robertson to be substituted by Councillor Crowther. So I'll move to a roll call. Can the following councillors please indicate that they're present at the meeting? Councillor Armstrong.
Present in the chamber.
Councillor Brooks.
In chamber.
Councillor Crowther.
Present in chamber.
Councillor Curling.
Present in chamber.
Councillor Jackson.
Present in the chamber.
Councillor Law.
Present remotely.
Councillor McCabe.
Present in chamber.
Councillor McCormick.
Present remotely.
Councillor Maguire.
Present.
Councillor McVeigh.
Present remotely.
Councillor Moran.
In the chamber.
Are there any declarations of interest? Okay.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, to item number 2, which is the revenue budget outturn for 24-25, and Angela Edmondson.
Thank you, Convener. This is the outturn report for 24-25 and it's based on the unaudited accounts decision. The report reflects an underspend of 95,000 across all the services, but this excludes HSEP, which is reported directly by the IGB, responsible for the IGB. As you can see, the underspend is about 0.6% of the annual budget for the year. It's a slight reduction on the underspend that was reported to the last committee of £19,000. You can see at section 1.3 of the report the main reasons for the underspend, and also more detail within Appendix 1 and Appendix 2 of the report. Like previous years, a report on the outturn will be provided to the service committees in first monitoring for 25-26. Just wanted to highlight section 3.5 of the report provides a performance table of the last 5 years. And you can see that this current last year, 24-25, has been very close, although it still has been an underspend. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Angela. Have you any questions, Angela? Councillor Jackson.
Yeah, just a quick one. Angela, it's just on the agency costs. I'm assuming these are mainly from environment regeneration. Do we think this is going to continue? Are we going to address the continued costs, payments to agency staff? Aye.
For you, Convener, we're hoping to minimise agency costs. We need to make sure that it's the most cost-effective solutions available to the council. We have significantly reduced agency costs across roads through the removal of agency drivers for the winter fitting programme, but there are still some security costs associated with the agency, and we're looking to see how we can provide a solution to that.
Okay, thanks, Sean.
Councillor Kerr.
Thank you, Convener. Just on the transport maintenance costs, has any check against the leasing of vehicles rather than the council owning vehicles? Has any work been done on that? And on the catering provisions, I know there's quite an overspend on that. I believe that has actually been addressed separately.
Can I pass the question on to the leasing costs? And the catering costs, yes, there's a review currently ongoing just now on the education services, so that will be addressed in part of that review going forward.
Okay, that's me, thank you.
Chief Executive.
Through you, Convener, our current transport model was constantly under review, Councillor Crowther, in terms of making sure it is the most cost effective solution that we have. So I can give you comfort that we are constantly monitoring it. We've just kept some of the vehicles a wee bit longer than what we anticipated keeping them, and that's why we've incurred some additional costs.
Okay, that's fine, thank you.
I'm not sure everybody, the microphones are working.
All right.
I'm very,
I can hear you.
I find it very difficult to hear. They're going,
Yes, it should be okay.
oh, yeah. Industrial deafness for all 3 years. Anyway,
Not working.
any questions for online? No, right, thank you very much for that, Angela. Agenda item number 3 is the capital programme outturn, and Matt, would you speak to this?
Yeah, thank you, Convener. It's against the annual report on the performance of the capital programme of every year. Section 1.3 lists the various appendices we've got, so we're trying to put on the performance over the last 5 years by category, and then there's a quick detail on each individual project, or the different projects and by period. You can see at 1.4 that the 0.96% advancement this year compared to 2.9% advancement last year, so we're keeping last 2 or 3 years have been a bit more settled, we're keeping well within the 10% limit in there. Section 3 gives us the main areas of the slippage advancement and also splits it down by committee. So the main issues in there really there's been advancement within the ENR committee and also within education and state. And that's offset by the HSCP mainly for the community hub. And we're aware the community hub is now on site, it's progressing well, so we can see that happen again this year. And we've also just flagged at 3.5 to 0.7 some of the issues we've had over the last few years. Remember some of these, but we are still you see some impact on the capital programme there, we're still seeing some cost pressures in there. And the members will remember the last 2 or 3 budget rounds, we've put extra money into policy to allow for that. That's all we can give here, but I'm more happy to get any questions.
Thank you. Councillor Crowther.
Thank you, Convener. Just under 3.6, where it mentions there about difficulties in attracting contractors to bid for certain contracts. Now, what I was looking at is, I think this is something that would happen not only within Inverclyde Council, but other local authorities as well. Have these contracts been kind of noted and the information possibly passed on to, say, the likes of our local college to see if they could run specific courses so that we could attract more people into those particular industries?
I don't know who's the best place to leave that. Maybe Ruth. Did you hear that, Ruth? Councillor Crowther, talking about education.
So if I understand the question, it was asking whether or not if we're finding it difficult to attract people to bid for contracts, whether or not the local college will linking up with those industries. Have I understood that correctly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Your question
Okay.
again.
Okay, basically what it is, if we can identify what these contracts are, and if it's due to lack of persons who have been trained up to do this specific work, is it something that we could flag up through the local college to see if they could run specific courses so that we could then say that we have a number of persons who have been trained up for these specific types of jobs?
Yes, I mean we certainly can, and the college are part of the local employability partnership, so we can with our colleagues in ENR flag up where there are issues. My sense is they probably are aware of that. They are running the appropriate courses. It might just be that there is a skill shortage in those areas, but certainly I can flag it up with the local college.
Thank you, Ruth. Mr. Anderson.
You Convener. Councillor Crowther, you'll be aware that since COVID there has been a contraction within the construction sector. So what we've done is we've had one of our Meet the Supplier days, whereby we invited contractors from wider than Inverclyde as well as Inverclyde to meet with officers for us to highlight the opportunities. Also recognising that the City Deal programme has had £1.13 billion worth of construction activity taking place across the metropolitan city region. And part of the role of the PMO office and the lead officer group is to try and coordinate the demands that are being placed on contractors. So we are taking an active role in terms of trying to attract contractors to Inverclyde, but also recognising that there are only a number of contractors available to us within Inverclyde's boundaries itself.
Okay, that's fine, thank you.
Councillor Jackson.
It's just on the same kind of question. I'm just wondering, is this shortage of suppliers, is this on major contracts, major works or minor works, or is it across both? And do you think having multi-trade organisations rather than lotting is having an effect? Because there has been a tendency in the last 10 years to go for multi-trade organisations for the minor works. I should have declared an interest, I'm sorry.
Eddie.
It's a mix of lots of different factors. I mean, we've got things ranging from marine works to specialist works on masonry that we're going to be carrying out on the Runkle Tower. There are a limited number of contractors for those kind of operations, and the training, timescales for taking people through are not short timescales. So there's a limit to what you can do in the short term here. In terms of large construction projects, we tend to go through routes like frameworks and approved frameworks. Tier 1 and Tier 2 contractors, there again are limits in the numbers of these, depending on the size of the contracts involved. We don't have any really huge contracts. We haven't had for a good number of years. Largest one being the community office on site in the former Hector and Neil Arson. That's a Tier 2 level contractor project. There's a reasonable number of them. In terms of multi-trade stuff, it's always a difficult balance between rolling projects together that are multi-trade or lotting individual contracts that are single trade. And we try and do a balance of all of that to try and spread the work across as many different bands of contracting organisations as we can.
Just one thing, I suppose with the multi-trade aspect here, you've got a lot of traditional family businesses where it could be certain types of work that have eventually over the last 10, 15 years without a business, and when the apprentices and the trades taken over, and then because it's not been cost effective, they couldn't bid for these non-lotted works, and that as a result the shortage in these skills is because of the tendency over the last 10, 15 years to go multi-trade, where you're focusing on the kind of main trades, and a lot of the kind of what they call the wet trades and other trades have been lost. It's just an observation, that's all.
No, I don't disagree with a lot of what you just said there. And again, we do keep single trade work out as well, and we do that for a lot of young contracts because we recognise that there's a place for the small SME contracting sector as well.
Good to just say, I think it's a great report. I think officers have done really well considering we've come through the COVID and the war between Ukraine and Russia and all that. It brought obviously the rise in shortage of price of materials and disrupted supply chain. I think we've done a great job considering all the difficulties we've had to overcome. And of course, we're talking about contractors. We did have this meet a buyer theme nights out days, and it was quite well attended, what I hear. And hopefully we've got some more people who will be interested in our contract going forward in the future. So I think it's a good report, considering all the circumstances we've been under. So thank you very much for that. Item of 4 is your Treasury Management Annual Report. Angela again.
Thank you, Convener. This report is to inform the Committee of the Treasury Management performance for 24-25. It highlights in the report that the Council remained within its prudential indicators and Treasury Management limits for 24-25. Just to highlight section 3.4 of the report gives some of the details of the issues that arose during that year. You can see changes around about interest rates didn't drop quite to what we expected, and also still some volatility within the rates. And section 3.6 to highlight shows that the report shows that the council's overall debt increased in the year. This was not due to new borrowings, just to confirm that it was to do with a change in the accounting treatment for IFRS 16, which was related to PPP and lease debt. Section 3.2 of the report shows the authorised limits for the external debt, and the committee's just asked to note the updated limit on the level for the other long-term liabilities as a result of the change in the accounting practices for the IFRS 16. And the report's just asking members to note the content of it and also to give approval to pass on to full council for approval and agreement to the revised authorised limits in the report. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Councillor Cullen?
No, thanks. See my finger itching. It's just on I note your comments, Angela, with respect to the conversion of the PPP and that having an impact on the overall. But I was just wondering how the number in 3.18, which is 224 million or 225 million, if you round it up, goes to our current debt, which is 246 with the PPPs, currently at 31st March 2025, 246. I just wonder how those two figures relate and what's sort of missing from the 225 million that would be, what do you call it? Because currently I would call our total debt is 246, but we've only got plans to repay or identifying repaying 225 million.
I can check that into more detail, but I think that just relates to the external loans that we have to pay, so it excludes internal borrowing.
Right, okay.
But I can get that broken down further if it's not clear in the report. We're going forward to the committee.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Crowley, did you? No? No. I thought he was there. Right, thank you very much. So, item 5, the Greenock East Community Council inter-elections, and Miss Lindsay Brown is going to talk to this.
Thank you, Convener. This report sets out or seeks approval of a timetable and sets out a draft timetable for an interim election for Greenock East Community Council, and also to appoint the Chief Executive as planning officer to administer the election on the county's behalf. This will include authority to make such changes to the approved timetable as are considered appropriate, taking into account the views of the Community Council. The Greenock East Community Council was formed in the elections in 2024 and has a membership of 8. The maximum membership is 11. The group has indicated that it wants to fill as many of the remaining vacancies as possible to promote representative decision making. Interim elections are already taking place in September this year for Greenock Central and Hope Farm and County Knowes, seeking to establish community councils in these areas. It is proposed that efficiencies would be gained by holding this election at the same time, thereby avoiding a material increase in demand for council resource. Whilst there are currently 3 vacancies, officers have been advised that there are some existing members who are contemplating whether they can continue, and so it may be that there are more than 3 vacancies by the time the process starts. The provisional timetable is set out in Appendix 1. As arrangements proceed, it may be necessary for amendments to be made, and there will be further engagement with the Community Council to seek your views on the timing of the process. Happy to seek any questions.
Any questions on the forthcoming elections? No? Thank you, Mrs. Lindsay Brown.
On that one.
Number 6 is the external condition survey of property assets. Eddie.
Thanks, Convener. So the report seeks a further allocation of funding from the capital programme contingency to progress the refresh of condition surveys of the council's previous property assets. Within the background section, there are previous reports to the Environment and Regeneration Committee and to this committee in June last year, where the initial allocation of funding for these surveys was approved. The surveys are a key element of work connected with the council's corporate asset management strategy, and the information from these surveys will be used in further ongoing review of the various asset plans. And we'll also use prioritise the annual life cycle capital investment in all of our facilities. And that's the committee approved recommendations. That's the questions.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr Montgomery? No, I agree. Item 7 is the digital modernisation programme, and it's Mrs Lindsay Brown and Mr Anne Donald.
Thank you, convener. This report has various purposes. Firstly, it provides an update to the committee on the digital modernisation programme and the status of the various projects delivered under it. It also sets out the current financial position against the funds originally allocated. Members should note that this be considered appropriate for the Council's FMS upgrades and associated budget of £1.2 million to be included in the programme. It also describes a review that has been undertaken in respect of the terms of reference of the Digital Modernisation and Transformation Project Board. An update is also provided on the progress of phase 1 of the interim digital and customer services strategy, and specifically against the 6 key actions that were identified. And finally, the report provides updates on the performance of the Council's ICT and customer services teams, and data on this is included in Appendix 2, setting out the latest performance statistics in the familiar format. I'll see any questions.
Thank you. Anyone? Amanda.
Thanks, convener. Yes, my question really is, I would like confirmation that SWIFT, or the replacement of the social work electronic records system, is out of scope and is presumably reported to the IJB and the Social Work and Social Care Scrutiny Panel. I'm asking the question because it doesn't feature here, so my assumption is that it's out of scope, but I wanted to raise it because it's clearly a very important IT issue. It's been delayed. I believe it's actually been possibly delayed again. And earlier this summer, there was a very significant data breach in another Scottish local authority, which involved electronic social work records. I actually think the breach was in education records, but the hackers got in and then were able to access social work records. So, is it out of scope and reported elsewhere? Thank you.
Yep, I can come in that, convener, if that's all right. Yes, Councillor Armstrong, there's a separate project board and scrutiny of the SWIFT project in place. So it reports, as you say, direct to the IGB board.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Do we have any further questions on the digital modernisation? No? No. Right. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for attendance today.